Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, with me, as always, is Mr. Bobby Blunts. Bobby, quite the scene in UFC London last Saturday night, or Saturday day, I guess you could say. Movsar Evloev wins. A lot of people thought it was a draw. But my question, we will talk about the fight, but did he? There's so many questions. I didn't understand the game plan. I don't understand it at all. Is he next for Volk? I don't even know. He should be with the win, but let's start with the fight. It's first. My first takeaway was, what the hell was this game plan? I think he went in there trying to show that he could strike, because they didn't want him to. He felt like he had to put on a good performance, like an exciting performance, to get a title shot. So he didn't go wrestling based heavy, and especially in the early rounds. Now we saw in the fourth and fifth where he mixed in more of the wrestling. But I thought after the point was taken away, I thought he stole the third. The first two rounds were, up in the air. I thought he stole the third at the end. The fourth round, I thought he won, but got the point taken away, and then he clearly won the fifth round. So if you want to tell me it was a draw, I'm probably okay with it. But if you want to tell me you scored round one or two for Evloev, I'd probably be okay with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, last Wednesday you asked me, do you think the title implications would at any way put pressure on any of these guys? And I was flat out wrong, because I figured, no, they're still going to get it done, high stress situation. And it did seem like he made a point to kind of kickbox with him in the beginning, like whether or not that was from Ali himself saying you want to do that. I kind of thought it might have been a little bit deliberate in the game plan, because Murphy was expecting the wrestling. So it kind of, threw Murphy off as well, even. Because those first two rounds were razor close. I texted you after the fight. I agreed completely with the two scorecards of 48-46. I completely understand because the first rounds 1 and 2 were so close, and someone scored it for Murphy for both those rounds. I personally had it 1-1 going into the third, and then from there on, Evloev won every round.
I thought halfway through the third is when he started turning it on. I thought Murphy was winning probably the first 2 minutes or so of the third, and then I thought towards the back end of round 3, I think I even texted you. I think Mozart stole that round in round 3, because
he definitely did.
Yeah, I was like, because to me, LeBron was, I almost scored it LeBron live. I haven't rewatched it, but live I was like, I think I probably have it 2-0 LeBron. But I think the commentators were pushing that narrative as well, so I think that probably skews my bias at times, because they're piping in kind of a little bit what I'm seeing, and which skews maybe what I'm seeing, and skews it more for LeBron. But I thought halfway through the third, I thought Mozart really started turning it on.
Yeah, and just in watching the first two rounds, it was kind of bizarre for me, because I was in the space, so I had a headphone in my ear listening to everyone's reaction, and there are a few people that bet on Evloev, and they were tripping out because he wasn't wrestling. And in my opinion, when I was watching it, what I took away from it is people were freaking out because he wasn't immediately grappling, when he was more than holding his own in the striking exchanges. Yeah. He was the one that pressured more in the first, and that's why I narrowly gave him that first round. When I watched it in real time, I actually gave him rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5. But then when I went back and rewatched it, and for one, once I heard the commentary, I was like, oh, okay, these people are freaking out more because they're listening to Bisbing
Yeah.
than kind of watching what they're seeing. But it was razor close. So if anyone, had those rounds for Lerone, I can't really begrudge him for that. But for me personally, at best for Murphy, it could have only been a draw. I did not have a scenario where he took that third round
Me neither.
under
Yeah.
any rewatch.
Yeah.
But
I agree there. And I thought, I thought it was going to be a draw. And shit, for somebody who put a little money on Mozart by decision, I was happy with with the way it went. I did think that the point deduction cost him, and it was the rightful point deduction. I just, I was a little weirded out too, though, by not the immediate takedowns, but to what you just said as well, is like he held his. It's not like Lerone was beating him up on the feet real bad. Like Mozart hung in there and showed that he could strike just as good, as Lerone could.
yeah, and Murphy, like when he got taken down, this is prior to like when he really got compromised. It made it more difficult. But
yeah, he hurt his hip, I believe, in the third or fourth. Yeah.
yeah, but he was doing incredible with being able to like break the grips once getting taken down to be able to get back up. I mean, definitely something I'm going to be looking for in the Volkanovski fight if we actually do get that. I think that Volk is also very good at doing that. So it didn't seem like Evloev was like really trying to like lay on top of him or anything, but it also did seem when he did get the point deducted, he pushed on the gas a little bit more to try to possibly get him out of there. But credit to Murphy, he's extremely tough. But at the end of the day, I thought the right guy won. But if Lerone got the victory, I do agree it was close enough. The part where people are trying to say it's the biggest robbery in the UFC, well, those must just be new fans. That I mean, for one,
I
you're
haven't
going to
seen
tell
that.
me
I would disagree.
like,
I would disagree by miles.
yeah, like I mean, you want to give me a robbery, like give me GSP beating Johnny Hendricks or something like that. Was nothing more than a close fight, and there were two 48-46 scorecards. Judges, I absolutely trust, by the way, compared to others. But at the same time, I kind of get, I had it obviously 9-9 for the fourth because of the point take. But Evloev did undoubtedly win that round. Like that was probably one of his better rounds.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure we'll get into what's next. We already know what we want, but we'll just kind of have to see what we get.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Bobby. You said the right man won. Will the right man face Volkanovski later this year in Mozart? Mozart, look, I saw a picture of him. Got, obviously he's going to take some time. Going to need, he got beat up a little bit. Joe Rogan said put it on the White House card. I don't really think you need to put it on the White House card, but
so
I mean,
that picture you saw of his nose busted,
yeah,
that was actually like 3 weeks out from the fight. He broke his nose. So he broke his nose and was going through Ramadan and still put on that performance like out of his own element.
Couldn't get his visa right.
Yeah, and then dealing with that stress as well. So I was, pretty blown away by the performance, even though it was razor close at times. But this is like what you get when the best fight the best. I mean, you're not just going to, steamroll for these guys. And when you look at his resume, I'm sorry, there's undoubtedly no question. Like, who has a better resume for a title shot? If you look at the names he's beaten, it's really incredible.
It is, and here are those names that you were talking about. Obviously, you have Lerone, who he just beat. You have, and the problem is I think is some of the inactivity. Remember this he didn't fight all of 25, but here's his just his last 5 fights. Lerone Murphy, Aljo, Arnold Allen, Diego Lopez, Dan Ige. Like, the guy is 20-0. You know what I mean? Like, what more do you want from him?
Yeah, there's literally no one left for him to fight except.
And there's really nobody left for Volk to fight. I mean, I understand that John Silva's out there, but to me, I do Mozart and Volk next, and I make John Silva be the backup fighter.
I mean, there's really no question where I stand on this. You already know. Evloev should have got the title shot last time. This is long overdue.
Probably should have got it the first time in the interim. He should have got, or when they did Diego Volk 1.
Oh, yeah. I mean, totally. But at the same time, the writing was kind of on the wall why they wanted to do that. Also, why they did the rematch. And I don't know, like, there's no doubt that I think he should be next. And just Volkanovski asking for it again, like 10 minutes after the fight was over, was talking about his performance, already upselling the fight, doing his part. And I mean, these guys are the last of a dying breed of that want to fight the best and test them with his skills. You know, I mean, one of them is on the main event on this weekend's card. You got Volk. I would put Islam in that category. I think when those guys leave, it's going to be a really sad day for the sport. And just when the way Volk was asking for it, like, if you're not going to do it for us, UFC, do it for this man's legacy. I mean, he doesn't want some chump win off John Silva. That would be the easiest ruby on Volk's title. The only thing you could say is the UFC is counting on father time for Silva to maybe catch him or something. The only fight that gives me maybe I'm not sure what would happen would be the Evloev fight, like unquestionably.
I would still favor Volk in that fight.
As would I, but it still has a question of, I wonder how this really goes for 5 rounds. And especially like just Volk asking for it, saying that this would be a way for him to like get a notch back in the cap on the Makhachev defeats. I have no problem with that. Like, there's so many good selling points for this fight. And I saw like the stupid graphics of the Monday morning matchmaking of what do we want to do? Like, number one contender or entertainment. And it's like, I'm sorry, but fighting the best versus best is the entertainment aspect of it. Yeah. You know, that's what this sport used to represent.
So. Well, that's what the UFC used to represent, right? That's what Danny used to say. We're not boxing the best, fight the best here. Well, that's, it seems long time ago that used to be the thing. Just looking at the rankings, Diego Mozart is the number 1 ranked contender, right? Then John Silva is 6, Bobby. Now, I know we've seen guys get title shots when they were ranked, 7, 8 before, but 6. Like, you're not even ranked higher than Aljo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't even need to make my case for why I don't think John Silva should get the title shot. I mean, he lost and he got a decent win over Arnold Allen. That's great. Fight someone else. But I'm not naive. I know 100% this is the direction the UFC wants to go. And if you were to ask me what happens next, unfortunately, I think they are going to do John Silva versus Volk. The only hope, in my opinion, is if Volk really puts his foot down and presses them on it. I really think that's his only chance, but let it be known, I think Evloev absolutely deserves it. It's long overdue. It's another one of the fights I really want to see that I'm probably not going to get to see, though. I think we got to get a board for the matchups we want to see and we're not going to get, because I think I'm at like 5 right now.
Yeah, and realistic fights. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think Volk puts it down, and I think he says Mozart's next, and hopefully we'll get to see that. We'll see that. I no, obviously no promises. I don't, and it didn't seem like it's not like Dana was enthralled by it. But what's next for Lerone coming off his first loss?
I mean, that is a tough one. Honestly, if they don't give Evloev the title shot, I'd have no problem if they ran that one back. I know they won't do that because they're not going to produce a rematch.
Do you do so? Let's just say Mozart gets the title shot. Why not do him and him and Jean Silva then?
I'd be up for that. I mean, there's obviously the caveat of us not knowing how long he's going to be out with the injury there, but I think that would be a great fight. The trash talking back and forth to Diego was a little bizarre, just considering he's already booked. But that's coming up sooner rather than later, I guess. But I think Lerone Murphy, John Silva is a lot more entertaining fight than John Silva versus Volk. You still got kind of a question mark of what's going to happen there. I would probably favor Murphy, but Silva's always kind of going to be sleeper with the power.
I think Mozart would be a better fight for Volk, like a tougher fight. I just think he's too fucking smart for John Silva. John Silva's not. John Silva is much like Diego, like wants to get in the firefight and hopefully find the right range, right? In fights and chaos. Volk's not gonna. He's too smart for that. He's not gonna entertain that. I think Volk would win easily.
Yeah, and that's why I just don't find it compelling. I think when people put the entertainment aspect of it, they honestly think more of like the press conferences and stuff, which, let's be honest, have been buns for over a decade now almost. So, but at the same time, I feel like it's almost a mute point with, I mean, just see how they booked Chimaev versus Strickland,
Right.
I just have very little faith that they're going to give us the fights that me and you want to see. But Evloev should undoubtedly be next. And I don't think Murphy's stock dropped at all, really. So he should still be in that, top of the rankings. And as soon as he gets back in there, hopefully it could be soon and it's not that long of an injury. But I heard he tore a hip flexor. So I have no idea. That sounds pretty important for his line of work.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll be able to bounce back. Luke Riley gets unanimous decision. But the fight, Michael Venom Page, he's pretty much said he had one fight. He has one fight left on the UFC. I'm going to ask you, Bobby, over or under 1.5 fights left in the UFC octagon for Michael Venom Page?
1.5, I probably would have to lean the under. Saying he had the one left. First off, I'm not even mad at MVP for that fight. I put all of that on Sam Patterson more than Venom Page there. I know they've trained in the past, so I think Patterson.
I put it more on the UFC. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Put it on the matchmakers.
Yeah, and I know Hunter has told him multiple times he is a very hard person to match up with because of his style. But just hearing him kind of break down what he wants next, he was talking about telling him what division can there be a path for me to fight for the title. And I mean, with all due respect, I just do not understand how far removed those expectations are from where the UFC is kind of booking him. I mean, this matchup kind of showed it.
Tell him to go to heavyweight. That's what you tell him. You want a shot at the title, go to heavyweight.
Yeah, it's I don't know, and it's weird too, because he's like, oh well, I want to get someone that will give me an entertaining fight, and essentially the way I translate that is he wants an opponent that has no defense and is just going to run forward. And people like know who this guy is. He's a counter striker who fights at range, like from his point karate days. So
right.
I would be especially seeing how quickly the UFC has moved on from like patching mix and stuff. Like, honestly, it would not shock me if they don't even want that one fight out of him and they just thank him for his services. Granted, I'll follow him wherever he goes. There's plenty of more opportunities for him, but I don't know what matchup they're going to give him to kind of get the fight that he's looking for. I can't even think of a name, and we got 2 weight classes to technically pick from.
Right.
But just judging off what he was talking about with the weight cut and stuff, I think I personally would much prefer him at 185, because 170 is already clogged as is. Unless they're willing to give him, someone kind of up in the rankings, not have him fight down. But yeah, I just don't know if they will.
He's 12 right now at welterweight, so he actually moved up. The only there's Euros Medic who's 13. I don't hate that. And I know he just got matched up with JDM, but Carlos Prates, that's a guy that's probably going to march forward and fit the style, that entertaining type style. Maybe you do him and Leon, but I feel like that would not suit well. Leon's kind of a counter striker as well.
Yeah. I don't know if they would even fight each other, but I don't know.
But maybe you do. So the guy that had a win on Saturday, who is now number 12 in the rankings, CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan.
Oh, that would be an awful fight.
I don't like it.
Maybe I'm not being fair to Leroy Duncan. It probably would be far more entertaining than what we got on Saturday. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could do that. To me, I just wonder if they're actually going to have him fight up in the rankings, or if they're just kind of going to use another young up-and-comer to try to get his ranking.
Yeah.
And if I were to guess, that would probably be more the direction they're going. Because, point blank period, if they do not extend his contract before this last fight, I'd be pretty shocked to see him get re-signed. Not me saying he doesn't deserve to be in there, but just with kind of how they booked him and used him, it's just kind of seemed like a misstep by the UFC.
Yeah, I'm agreement there. I didn't like the fight, and I don't really. It's not like I'm blaming MVP, but it just hasn't. I don't feel like the UFC and MVP have nailed it. That's it.
It was kind of good to see him have some accountability for the performance as well, admitting that wasn't the best he thought he could have put out. So that definitely gives me a little bit of hope. But I think they just need to match him up with someone that's going to be willing to bring the fight for him. I don't know if it was Patterson training with him or what, but he did not seem to want to engage at all.
Yeah. Also on that card, Nathaniel Wood, which we said, he was a dog, and we said we liked him, and he got the nice win. I mentioned Christian Leroy Duncan got the win. He's now 14-2. That was a weird fight too, because I kept thinking that he was knocking down Roman Dolidis, but Roman was just falling down on purpose.
Yeah, the I thought the prelims were very good. Very good quality win from Nathaniel Wood. I mean, he dropped that first round, came back and won the other two, and I'm pretty high on Chieta. So I that's a very good quality win for him. And probably my favorite fight on the prelims. But the main card did kind of drag a little bit, and I think it was mainly the CLD fight and stuff. But you know, at the same time, he got the win, and that's the name of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he dominated the fight. Shout out to Bernowski, the Poland 8-0 with a nice Polish power knockout as well on the main card.
Yeah, did not need to happen, but yeah, good for him for getting the win. And absolutely have to give a shout out to Wales. Mason Jones, absolute savage. I I always say that I don't like consider toughness a skill, but he seems so kind of well rounded wherever the fight goes and real comfortable. So I'm really excited to see what they do next for him and hope they can maybe get him someone higher up there ranked.
So Rob says, speaking of heavyweight, buy or sell RAF pulling Gable as a big deal. I buy it. I mean, I like what our RAF's doing, Rob. I think that they've been able to get big names and big stars. And right now he's one of the biggest like names, especially in wrestling, and what they're doing. So yeah, I think it's a big deal. So I buy it.
Yeah, I mean RAF has continued to be able to pull these signings and stuff, and definitely what they'll offer him be pretty much being that you can do this event and literally anything else, especially when it's his bread and butter. I got to find it to be pretty appealing, and especially since it's on a subscription service, that'll probably be another selling point to people. And I think it's a way for him to keep the wrestling going while being able to kind of focus and develop his striking game in the regional, MMA scene. So it wasn't that shocking of a signing. Like when I heard it, it was like, yeah, that makes sense. So,
Right.
nothing that really shocked me, but yeah, the RAF continues to be making a lot of waves in the little time they've been here.
Bobby, before we get into this Saturday's card, I wanted to mention the Horiguchi and Manel Cape. Like this is a rematch of the Ryzen fight, and it's just like another great fight, and unfortunately, it's at the glorious Apex.
I'm too numb to it, man. I did it. I was more thinking, I hope this fight happens and not, there's no injury or any type of pullout. Don't want to put that in the air, but that was more my concern than the location. But definitely agree. It absolutely should not be. And, maybe we get lucky and it gets pulled for something else similar to how Sean Brady and Buckley got put on the New York card when they're in the Apex. I kind of doubt it because those things seem to rarely happen. And, that first fight in Ryzen was crazy. I mean, Manel Kaib essentially knocked Horiguchi out with a inverted with a headbutt, and Horiguchi still ended up submitting him. So I know that will deliver. I understand everyone wanting it to be in Japan, but we know Japan is not going to pay that side fee. So,
yeah.
But yeah, very good quality fight. And it really feels like mute point complaining. It's at the Apex at this point. Yeah. If you want to hear a crowd, just go watch the first one on Ryzen TV.
And also we got the official, all of the rest of the Netflix card. Your thoughts here for anybody that missed it. So we already knew we were getting Rousey, Gina Carano, Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry, Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins. But it was announced this past week. It's going to be the return of Junior Dos Santos, 50-year-old JDS versus Robles Despaigne, who had a cup of coffee in the UFC and is I think he might be the Karate Combat heavyweight champion. I don't remember. Maybe that's still Sam Alvey. I can't remember.
No, he fucked Sam Alvey up.
Okay, so the Karate Combat champion. Then you got former top flyweight ranked Muhammad Mokaev versus Ariano Moraes, who is very, up there as well. Then you got Jason Jackson versus Lorenz Larkin. Saladin Peronese, who's been around and been champions in other organizations as well, versus Kenneth Cross. And then you got another women's fight on the card. You have Poetan's sister on the card versus Jade Mason Wong. Your thoughts here on how they filled out? We when they announced the initial card, we said, got to see what this whole card looks like. I think they kind of nailed it, Bobby. You got the super casuals with the names with Francis and Rousey and Carano. Then you kind of get the even better casual fight with Mike Perry and Nate Diaz, and then you get the hardcore fights, with Muhammad Mokaev and such.
Yeah, for the resources that they had available to them in this climate, especially with how everyone's like locked up in contracts and stuff. I think they basically filled this out about as good as they could. They put some very intriguing matchups that pique my interest a lot more at stuff on the main card. Mokaev versus Moraes, I think that's a great fight. I like the fact that Mokaev is getting a good opportunity, and I'm assuming more money than he ever made in the UFC or any other promotion. So that's good to see. Parnalis versus Cross, another very intriguing fight. KSW champion who's wanted to pretty much he's taken the Paul Hughes route that, he wants his respect and being compensated. So he's turned down multiple UFC offers. So I think they did a decent enough job at putting a little thing on there for everyone. And I know there's still going to be people that are negative about it. You want to do that, more power to you. I'm not going to tell you how to fan, but for what they had, I did not think they were going to be able to fill out the undercard this decently.
Yeah, I thought it would be a bunch of washed guys now. The only one that's semi-wash, JDS is long in the tooth and probably should not be fighting. But
remember the names that Rob was asking us when the first fight got announced, and we were pulling the olds.
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, and it's oh God, this is it's not really like that at all. As far as the undercard goes. So
yeah, I'd like the undercard. It's definitely I'm more interested now than I was. Now I'm obviously going to be interested in how it's going to be produced, and what that's going to look like. So kudos to Jake Paul and his team for what they've done here.
Yeah, they have the budget for Netflix. I mean, essentially, I feel like Netflix is leasing them to put on the big event,
Yeah.
They're like, hey, here's the money you're working with. You can take off 15% on the top for yourself, and you can keep the live gate and all that, sell it. And especially for their first quote unquote MMA event, or whatever you want to refer to it as. It's obviously an MMA, but I think it's a lot more compelling than some of these boxing undercards that they put on their other cards. But at the same time, the undercards always do seem to be the more kind of intriguing fights that you're getting and stuff. And they kind of continued that trend with the the Netflix card. So, you know, it's free on Netflix. I'm not going to lie, like a lot more intrigued to possibly go now from when they announced just Ronda and Carano.
So Robbins asked a good question here. What if MVP bought BKFC, RAF, PFL, and put on quarterly boxing, MMA, bare knuckle, and wrestling bouts? Could they compete with the TKO for weekly eyeballs? So if they did each one of those weekly, I don't know, possibly. But if you're just telling me they're doing it once every quarter, I'd have a hard time. But I mean, anything's possible. I don't know.
Compete? No, absolutely. Like, though I expected this event to probably outdraw the White House, that would not shock me at all with the platform it's on with Netflix.
Yeah.
I don't really consider this direct competition on them. I look at it more as a one-off, and the best thing that MVP has going for it is they are offering these guys these one-fight contracts. So that would be a possible way to make, Rob's idea work. But the part you lose me is compete with the UFC. They're not going to do that. This is a one-off event, and I don't expect this to be a regular recurring thing. Like, even if it's a smashing success and Netflix wants more, I'd say we get 2 of these a year, maybe 3. You're not competing with something putting on 47 events a year.
Right. And where it's guys who are legit the best of the best in the UFC. Everybody knows that. But, and even in this card, it's got some good fighters. But, I don't think that anybody's coming away saying that's the best fighter in the world. Maybe Muhammad Bakayev, maybe.
Well, they're not going to have – well, I do find it kind of cheeky that they essentially have what you could argue – one of the best flyweights and the best heavyweight on the card. So
that's true. I
like that kind of troll job.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how they're going to kind of sustain the talent pool, because especially like the 3 names at the top, you'd be kind of surprised to see them do it again. Like, Francis has talked about wanting to fight Jake Paul.
Yeah.
But, how much of this does Netflix want will, be the question. They've had success with the boxing events, so I'm not like trying to undersell it that it can't succeed. But when we're talking about like being direct competition to the UFC, I don't see that. It will definitely make things interesting for fighters to get other opportunities elsewhere if they can get out of their contract. But I don't know if that would be their first choice if it's just like fighting once a year as well.
But every MVP beats the UFC. Bobby, let's move into the other competition of the UFC, and that's the PFL. They coming off a nice event last week. We forgot to talk about it, but their middleweight champion Van Steens knocks out Fabian Edwards in the 3rd round. AJ McKee had a nice win as well. There's the first MMA event held in Spain. Then keeping with the middleweight division, this week you get their former champion Johnny Eblen taking on the former UFC, former BKFC, or former Dirty Boxing in Brian Battle. Obviously, we remember Brian Battle from his UFC days as well. Your thoughts here on what PFL's done? Their president John Martin was on the Early Hawani show this week and said, like, we're doing probably a whole brand change. They got away from the tournament, probably gonna get away from the PFL name and do a full rebrand and everything else.
Yeah, the Madrid event was good. The environment, I felt a little undersold on it just because I've seen some of their other shows, like in Paris and stuff. And but eventually it filled up and got loud. It was definitely electric environment. every time they go overseas, it definitely hits. Um, I'm still don't understand what Fabian Edwards' game plan was with the wrestling, and especially those now that you can legally do the 12-6 elbow, he just did not seem to be accounting for that, and he went out pretty quickly because of it. So for a moment, you were kind of wondering, okay, where's this fight going? What are we going to get? Um, but I don't know. I just hated the game plan. Like he seemed to be having success, like when he was choosing to strike. But I don't know if the plan was maybe to try to wear on Van Steens or what. But I just was not a fan of the game plan at all. But credit to Van Steens for getting the victory, and it's kind of a perfect setup going into this Saturday.
This Saturday seems like the number one contender. I mean, Bryan Battle is making his PFL debut, going up against a guy who was just got caught in the
20 seconds away from winning.
Yeah,
just wild.
Yeah, probably could be still the middleweight champion there, but here he is taking on Bryan Battle. It's an intriguing matchup. It's probably one of the better matchups of two names that the PFL could put on.
Yeah, and especially what we've been asking for, just like trying to have your best guys fight your best guys. I think it's a home run opportunity for Battle, mainly because he's literally getting signed and already fighting the former champion. So that's a great opportunity for him. I'm pretty sure he's going to be taking it seriously. I think he's kind of learned his lesson from the past, but you can never tell. It's weird.
Right. It's the guy who missed 170 multiple times and missed his last fight at 185.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, and I do think it's good that that this is happening. Like everyone is like going to try to give them shit for going head to head with the UFC this weekend.
It's not all at the same time, is it?
Yeah, I think it is, since it's in the States.
Early. It says main card 9 Eastern. So actually, it'll be the UFC should be the main event at the UFC should be over before the main event, because it's an hour early in the UFC.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people shitting on it, them going head to head with the UFC. I just don't think people understand that like all the PFL is doing is fulfilling a slot with ESPN and their broadcast partner.
Yeah,
like going to be on ESPN too. So and he alluded to in that interview, being John Martin, that they're already in negotiations with for their new TV deal. My money would kind of be on like Fox Nation, since like they already have RAF. I think that would be a sneaky one. But my main point in saying all this is I'd be very surprised if they were back with ESPN, because like even on Saturday when I went to the card, I had to scroll through a bunch of other stuff before I could even find it. Like they don't have it really well known or anything. It almost seems like they're just treating it like the UFC's redheaded stepchild, that they're just waiting for the thing to expire. So maybe I'll eat crow and they'll get a new deal, but I don't think it's really the best thing for the PFL. I think they'd be better off going with someone new that would kind of promote them and, like, as Martin says, want them as a partner.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. It'll be interesting. Who do you favor in that fight? Eblin or the Butcher?
I think I would still probably have to go with Eblin. But at the same time, if I knew we were getting the butcher, like the guy that showed up and dropped that epic promo and that was laser focused, I'd be a little more intrigued to go the other way. But I do think Eblin is legit, and the biggest thing that's going to help him is fighting in the States and not overseas this time. So I would expect it to be a bounce back win for Eblin, but at the same time, I don't think I think Battle is still going to handle his own and give him a pretty he's definitely got the power, but no, if Johnny comes in completely prepared, I would probably pick him to win.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Give me Johnny Eblin as well. Bobby, let's move to UFC Seattle, headlined by other than Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer. It's the return of the last stylebender, coming off quite the losing streak. I believe he's lost 4 out of his last 5 fights. I mean, that's just the best way to say it. 3 in a row. And he's taken on a very hungry, big Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer is huge, got hard hands. In this fight, there's a lot of storylines coming in. Is this a must win for Israel?
I don't really view it like that, but I do understand the point. But just especially because his resume, I think for him personally, it is a must win because he wants to get the win. But I don't think it's going to be a must win in the fact of if he loses, the UFC is going to be out of the Israel Adesanya business.
I don't think they're going to be out of the business, but I think it's a must win. I think his title days are over with. I kind of said that, I think, against the last against Imanov fight. But his last win, Bobby, was 3 years ago, April 8th, 2023. And if you remember, that's when he knocked out Alex Pereira, and he hasn't won since.
Yeah, it's wild to think about, especially when you looked at his past resume when he was just clearing out the division. But at the same time, all of those losses are nothing to sneeze at. Like, he lost to very elite guys. And the only fight that he was having no success in was the Strickland fight, where he essentially got caught in the first round and then was really struggling. I thought he was winning the Drickus fight until things were not going his way and he got submitted. I thought he won the first round of the
Nasruddin fight.
Yeah, Imanov. But that was like a razor close one. But he was having success with that, and then he got caught. So I don't kind of look at, like, though he has lost 4 out of his last 5, which is really wild to see when you look at the Tapology page. He's a slight favorite in this. I'm not sure if that changed, but I think that kind of, shows you where the betting lines are looking at it. But I don't think he's not still in his prime, but in no way do I think like he's washed or anything like that. I think he can more than win this fight. Oh, here's Rob coming in to tell me I'm wrong.
Rob is saying that he is washed. He thinks that is washed. This is the UFC playbook. I admit that. They're trying to build the young star off the old star. It's just, they got the playbook from professional wrestling first. I mean, that's, the old adage of professional wrestling. But so it's not, that's how it's done. But I don't know. I question where he goes after this. If he loses this, that's why I think it is a must win for him, because I don't know what's left
or
who's, you know what I mean? Like, if you beat Joe Pyfer, you're kind of maybe back in the mix of things at least. And maybe you can put 2 or 3 together and kind of get back in there. But if you lose to Joe Pyfer here, or he puts you down, I don't know what's next.
Yeah, no, more than a fair point. The way I see this fight playing out is like from Izzy's side, he needs to pick him at keep it at kicking range, you know?
Yeah.
And he's really good at maintaining the distance and kind of, you know, fighting that game. And you do look at, you know, the Nasruddin fight is a great example of, well, yeah, Pyfer also has that power. So if he gets caught, and every time Izzy has lost, it's because like he makes a slight mistake, like in these last 4 fights.
Do you think it could be? This fight could be very much like the Yoel Romero fight.
I don't see it. Maybe because of how their styles would come off, but I mean, personally, for me, like I think Pyfer's best chance to win is to wrestle early.
Yeah,
You know, I think you should kind of throw the Evloev game plan out there and kind of go with maybe what he's not suspecting, because I don't know. You look at like the Hermanson loss, and you know that is one that he kind of really struggled with the distance, and you know he had a great first round, but you know over time, you know he struggled, and Hermanson was able to pick him apart. And if Izzy is truly like able to play his game and maintain the distance, I could absolutely see that being the case where he'd end up winning the decision. But you are kind of always going to have the wild card of Pyfer's power to where it can end at any moment. But that's why I think if maybe Pyfer wrestles early and then he could kind of come at him with the striking, because if he doesn't have success with the striking early, you know, it just might be a really difficult night. But Pyfer definitely seems focused and wants to use the opportunity. Like he knows this is the biggest fight of his career. So another really good quality event at 185, even if, you know, Izzy's kind of getting a little up there in the tooth. But, you know, for me, I've never really been the biggest Izzy guy, but I'm just going to try to my best to appreciate the time he has left in there, because I really don't know how long that is. This very well could be the last one. I could easily see him, you know, doing another 3. It's tough to say.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think the result might have something to this. So Rob wants to know, is he a top 2.5 middleweight of all time? I probably have a number 2. I think you have Anderson Silva, then behind that might be Izzy.
Yeah, I mean, I have no. You'd probably have to go with the caveat of like in the UFC.
Yeah.
But if you, I'll definitely go middleweight champion easily.
Yeah.
Because you know, and more importantly, I mean, he spoke on this earlier, but not so much the longevity, but the activity of being a champion. Like that almost does not exist anymore.
No, we had the nice run of him and Volk and really Kamaru Usman, even though Usman felt like he was fighting the same 3 guys, but at least like all 3 were active often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know, that's just kind of why it makes sense why he's the main event. I mean, I think I saw something like he's headlined like 15 pay-per-views or something.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
So Rob says he's equal to Frank Shamrock at 2 all time best.
Yeah, and you know, to Rob's point, like the middleweight division does have a lot of lineage history to it. So I mean, I completely get that aspect as well.
I think he's 2. You know, to me, he was on the path to Anderson, but you know, obviously that those plans got derailed and those types of things. So like at their peak though, in their primes. I think I would favor Anderson and then Izzy at number 2. So
it's wild too, because if you look at how Anderson's career ended in the UFC, and like that is trust me, those comparisons are not lost on me at all.
Right. Who do you got winning this one?
I think it's going to be really close, competitive rounds, back and forth. But it's just going to come down to who can implement their game plan better. And at this point, even though I'm a very big fan of Joe Pyfer, I still expect Adesanya to be able to get this done. I think he will win by decision. If we're talking next Wednesday and he got finished, it really wouldn't shock me with how these are going. But I think he's going to be able to keep the fight at kicking range and just the 25-minute experience. As long as, he can make it that long, I think he has a really good chance of winning. But I really couldn't hate on anyone for picking Pyfer. Normally I ride with the Philly guys, but I think Izzy gets this done, and I'd like to see him get it done. Like it'd be good to see him break the losing streak. And we have been seeing a lot of these matchups where they've matched up the younger guy with the older guy, and the olds have come out on top. So I expect that trend to continue on Saturday, but I'm absolutely not counting out Pyfer as a threat because he does have lethal power.
Yeah, he does. I've always said I want to like Joe Pyfer, but every time he opens up his mouth, I just can't. It's that fucking it's that Philly fucking attitude. I don't know. It just rubs me the fucking wrong way. But now he seems like he found Jesus. He's done 180, Bobby. He's found Jesus and everything else. So it'll be interesting.
I'm generally happy for him. Like, good. If that's what you need.
I'm not mad that he found Jesus. I just hope he's not an arrogant asshole like he normally is. So I want to like him because he has such a great backstory and he's a hell of a fighter. But every time he opens his mouth, it just makes me want to punch him. My heart says Izzy, right? Like my heart's like, man, like, this is a guy that deserves, to go out on top. He during the pandemic was always there, was the right, him. And like I said, him, Volk and Kamaru Usman it seemed like those three were always fighting. He always, fought who was, the top. I'm going to go Joe Pyfer. I think Joe Pyfer puts him out and finishes the career that is Israel Adesanya. So give me beat Joe Pyfer.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the last couple fights, I don't blame you at all. I completely get it.
Would I be shocked though? Like you said, I would not be shocked if Izzy wins by decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, especially if you look at, I don't care how up there Izzy's getting. This is by far Joe Pyfer's toughest opponent. Not even close.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see how he handles that, especially with the 5-round fight. So, yeah, we're going to learn a lot on Saturday for that main event.
Yeah, I was just going to look at the odds just real quick on that, on the fight real fast before we just briefly talked about the rest of it. UFC fight. Now, here we go.
I saw it at Izzy minus 140, but that was on Tapology, so that doesn't.
Yeah, it's minus 145. Joe Pyfer plus 120. If you do Izzy by decisions plus 150. Joe Pyfer by KO is plus 250. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would take that over his money line with how close that is. There's no odds on it. But at the same time, I'm picking Izzy, so I wouldn't really recommend that. But if you are going to bet Joe Pyfer, just lay, get the juice for the finish.
Yeah, agreed. you also have in this fight, you have Macy Barber, who, she had those health problems, did bounce back, and she's taking on the former champ and Alexa Grasso. This could be, I think if Macy wins here, she could be put herself kind of right in line for a title shot. She's that flyweight's kind of stacked here. So it'll be interesting what they do, but she'd insert herself kind of in that picture, in the title picture for sure when you beat the former champion. You also have Michael Chiesa, who says he's putting the gloves down after this one. His original fight fell out, but they bring in another veteran, Nico Price. You got
Can I say I'm glad they brought in Nico Price and didn't just swap him out with some up-and-coming killer. So, and I know I'm going to probably complain that this fight is on the main card after it happens, but today I don't, it's his retirement fight. Let him go out on the main card. Good for him.
In his hometown, right? He's from Seattle.
Yeah, and so I'm glad that, all worked out for him. And yeah, he's had a hell of a number of fights in the UFC. So
yeah, this I didn't realize this is a 6-fight main card. So for what that's worth, not that you have Jillian Erosa versus LaRon Douglas. You got Terrence McKinney and Kyle Nelson. Terrence said he thinks this fight will get out of the first round. So
yeah, well, I don't think the UFC does, which is why it's a 6-fight main card.
Right. On the undercard, you have Ignacio Bonamides. If you remember his last fight, he lost to what's his name? I see it. Oh, I see his name, but I see his face, Fiziev. But before that was on a 3-fight winning streak. You also have Chase Hooper taking on Lance Gibson Jr. on this card. Marcin Tybura versus man, what a turnaround for Tybura. I feel like he just fought. Taking on Tyrell Fortune. Casey O'Neill versus Gabriel Fernandez. So, Ricky Simone versus Adrian Yanez. Nice little prelim card as well. Bobby, any fights you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Good job burying the heavyweight fight, UFC. I applaud you. Navajo Sterling, Izzy's boy, is also on this card. I still really don't know what to make of him, but that's a good one. I'm excited to see what Ignacio, if he can, get back on the winning track there. So that one intrigues me. And I do think Terrence McKinney, Kyle Nelson, however long that will last, is going to be absolute fireworks.
Yeah, bet the under.
Yeah, no, that's pretty safe to say. And Erosa versus Douglas at 145. I think that's also pretty compelling. Definitely deserves some main card placement. So excited for that one. And I am kind of interested to see what we get out of Grasso. Ever since that draw, she seems to just kind of be stuck in the mud. And I don't know. The streak kind of Macy has been on. I think I'm leaning towards picking Barber in that fight.
Yeah, agreed. I do too. As long as she is healthy. Remember, she was supposed to fight. Her and Grasso fought back in February of 21. She was supposed to fight Erin Blanchfield, remember, and had to pull out. And that was a big fight. And she
literally at the walkouts.
Yeah.
Pretty bizarre way to end an Apex show.
Right. So hopefully she can make weight, be healthy, and ready to roll out Saturday night in this co-main event. I'm right there with you. I like her to win that fight.
The reason hold on, let me let that freaking cat out. The reason I got faith that she gets it done is I was very impressed with her performance for Silva. So yeah, to me the questions I already had about the health got answered with the last performance, and I got more questions of what Grasso's going to do. Like, is she just going to lay there in the guard if she gets taken down? If she does, I think it's going to be a really long night.
Yeah, if you do MMA math, which we know that doesn't always work. Grasso's last loss was to Silva. Barber's last win was to Silva. So, maybe she'll get the rematch and win here. I'm in agreement here. So Macy's only got 2 losses. One of them is to Alexa Grasso. So, Bob, you got any last thoughts before we get out of here?
I think we covered it all. We talked about the PFL. Good weekend of combat. We got that. There's some pretty decent boxing on as well. So,
Sweet 16 and Elite 8, baby. Sweet 16 or Elite 8 on Saturday is going to be absolutely fire tomorrow because tomorrow's game's Sweet 16 is so. Not only you got the PFL going up against the UFC, they're also going up against that.
Yeah. I'm not sure how accurate it was, but it sounds like the event was selling well in PA. And I do hope they kind of stick to doing more of these American shows. Like Martin talked about having Usman and Dakota fight in the States. I think that's a brilliant idea and a much smarter way to build your rebrand and stuff than, doing those shows in Abu Dhabi. Agreed.
Other than that, we'll be back next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the fights. We'll see you back here next Wednesday.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.